This might seem a little out of place considering we're well into wrapping up the month of March, but it's safe to say that 2022 was an incredible year for horror that left such a sweet taste in us horror fans' mouths. So sweet I can still taste it. Which is why I wanted to dive a little bit into 10 of my favorite horror films released in 2022 that I simply never got to talk about beforehand. But please keep in mind, there are so many more movies that deserve to be on this list. But I tried my best to compact this list to just 10. And these are not full reviews of each movie either. Just a quick and short explanation as to why I love them. Also, I didn't get to watch every movie released last year as much as I wanted to, so I'm sure there's a few that I missed. Also, I'm sure a few of these movies might surprise you that they're on the list to begin with. Maybe even where they're placed on the list might surprise you. But hey, this is all subjective. This is just one man's opinion. That being said, let's get on with it.
Oh boy, that's a good cup of joe.
Coming in at number 10, Terrifier 2. Damien Leone's Terrifier from 2016 became a hit in the horror genre. It definitely struck a cult following, and we all knew a sequel would be inevitable. Terrifier 2 follows Art the Clown as he's resurrected and, in his nature, continues his rampage amongst the town. Now, the scale and scope of this movie is much greater and bigger than the first one, which in this case, it honestly made for a more in-depth and entertaining experience. The kills were more brutal, the gore was cranked up to 11, and the film even carried a strong female lead who was a complete badass. Coming in at number 9, Orphan First Kill. I never thought 2009's Orphan would ever get a prequel, especially all these years later. But it's here, and I found myself enjoying seeing Esther's origin, as well as the events that led up to the first film. Also, adding a major plot twist made for an even more entertaining experience that offered unexpected layers to an already intriguing premise. Orphan First Kill honestly gave me more than what I hoped for. Coming in at number 8, Sissy. Now, one of my favorite things to do is check out movies or shows I've never even heard of. You'd be surprised how many absolute gems you sleep on by simply never giving them a chance. I love discovering treasure under the dirt I almost looked past. Sissy was such an unexpected thrill. Fairly steady paced, but it still carried an unpredictable tone. You weren't really sure how to feel. And slowly but surely, it turns into a series of unforgiving and relentless bloodbaths. Coming in at number 7, The Black Phone. A serial killer who abducts children, and his latest victim isn't going out without a fight. Now, I don't know about you, but that sentence alone intrigues me. The Black Phone was just such a unique and thrilling watch. The concept of the spirits of the previous victims helping out the latest victim was already entertaining to me. But then Ethan Hawke himself cranks this movie up a notch by being so creepy and sinister and delivering a pretty brilliant performance without even showing his face. Coming in at number 6, Watcher. Probably the most relatable film on this list, and maybe even the one with the most uncomfortable premise. We can all relate to that gut feeling of being watched by a stranger, and even that feeling following us everywhere we go. This movie takes that concept and makes it its primary focus, and it all leads to probably one of the worst case scenarios in a situation like that. Honestly, my jaw hit the ground at the end of the movie. Coming in at number 5, The Menu. So, you're going to an exclusive restaurant on a private island owned by one of the world's greatest chefs. What could possibly be wrong with that? Well, not much really, unless the chef himself and his team are not at all what they seem. They have much different intentions than you expect, and the dirt they have on you to justify their actions kinda makes it hard to argue against them. But in the end, we all just want to live, right? The way this movie just executes everything it goes for so flawlessly is almost stupid. Also, my number one favorite actress is actually Anya Taylor-Joy. So there's that. Coming in at number 4, Barbarian. Probably the biggest surprise of the year for me. You can watch all of the trailers 100 times, and you'd still have no idea what this movie is truly about. And that's honestly what I love the most about it. The unpredictability this movie carries just kept going. I thought this movie was going into one direction, and then it takes a huge leap towards another direction. And out of the blue, when you least expect, the movie shifts into something entirely different. And the strangest part about it is, it all works. This movie shouldn't be great, but it is. The surprises are really entertaining, and the ending itself is really satisfying. Again, biggest surprise of the year for me. Coming in at number 3, X. One of my favorite movies of all time is the original The Texas Chainsaw Massacre from 1974. That movie is so unsettling, yet so intricate, with some really memorable characters. And I haven't seen a movie execute something quite like that since, until now. Now, X isn't necessarily trying to be like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, but the similarities are undeniable. And I mean that in the best way possible. The inspiration is clear, yet this movie still manages to stand on its own 2 feet. The characters were likable, the humor felt natural, the kills were pretty entertaining, and the final act itself was kind of shocking. Also, the overall ending kind of felt appropriate. Also, Jenna Ortega. Coming in at number 2, Scream 5. There's not much to say. I really love Scream 6, and obviously, we wouldn't have gotten that without Scream 5, a franchise I've loved nearly my entire life. And Scream 5 breathing a new life into it will always make me grateful for its existence. Scream 5 really is part of the perfect middle ground, established in Scream 4, for what came before and for what's yet to come. If the Scream franchise continues on after Scream 6, hopefully it continues to keep this solid foundation. Now, coming in at number 1, you curious? You want to know? This might surprise you. Hellraiser. Now, I don't consider this to be the best movie of 2022, and I don't even consider this the best horror movie of 2022, but it is my absolute favorite. Because for as long as I can remember, I've really wanted a solid, modern Hellraiser film. Every movie that's come out in the Hellraiser franchise since Hellraiser 3 has kind of been a disappointment for me, and it's kind of heartbreaking, especially when looking back on the incredible original trilogy. So when this movie released and it was actually as great as it was, you can only imagine how happy I felt. Seeing something I've wanted to see for such a long time. This movie felt entirely new and fresh in the Hellraiser franchise. It incorporated that modern horror feel we get in most modern horror films today, but it still managed to capture that tone and spirit of Hellraiser. The story itself was pretty decent, the characters were relatable, and when it came to the Cenobites, my god, they were breathtaking. Plain and simple, I've always wanted a great, modern Hellraiser film, and honestly, this is it. So there you have it, my top 10 favorite horror films of 2022. What are some of your favorite horror films released in 2022? Let me know down below. Please consider leaving a like. It would make a difference. And if you want to see more content like this, please hit that subscribe button. It would mean the absolute world to me. And I'll catch you on the next one.
Woo!